I can tell you in my case, you know, I'm a kid from the South Bronx, and I was born and came up in the 80s. And that was the era of crack, crime, and hip hop. And from that era, I was always a dreamer. There was nothing around me that told me you can be anything more than anything that you saw in your immediate vicinity. So I think I was kind of born as a dreamer, but I can tell you this, and I quote this quote all the time. Jack Canfield, who is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, he says, God doesn't give you, he doesn't say God, I'm adding that. You're not given a dream unless you have the capacity to fulfill it. And what that means is, if you have a dream, I don't care who you are, whoever's watching this right now, I don't care what your circumstances are, if you're sitting in a jail cell, if you are completely broke, whatever, if you have a dream, like if God puts a dream in your head, he didn't put it in my head, he didn't put it in anybody else's head, but if he gives it to you, it is your responsibility, it is your duty to act on it, because if he gave it to you, you have the capacity to fulfill it. But unfortunately, people see the dream and they think it's too big for them. They think that, yo, damn, like, I'm just Shawn from the South Bronx. How can I ever do this? Like I'm not big enough, talented enough, skilled enough, educated enough. I don't have any resources. I don't know anybody with money. I can never do that. Well, guess what? God wouldn't have gave you the dream if you couldn't do it. So I tell anybody, if there's something that's living in here, if there's something, I don't care what it is, and you have to understand, if God gave it to me, I have the capacity to fulfill it. That's number one. And number two, just being a child of hip hop, just being a child who was raised and loved that culture, I think hip hop saved me. I think hip hop saved so many people in the culture, people who otherwise would not get a shot, because I don't speak the Queen's English. You know, I'm not a person who, I don't think I'm the smartest, I don't think I'm the fastest, I don't think I'm any of those things, but at least with my skill set, what I brought to the table, there was this industry being birthed right around the time that I was birthed. And it allowed me to get in and come in exactly as I am and be true and authentic to myself. And I was able to see people who look like me, talk like me, same skin complexion as me, and they were becoming multi-millionaires and now billionaires. So yes, being that close to this thing called hip hop, it has allowed me to dream and continue to dream bigger, because every time I hit a goal, I look in somebody who I know, somebody who I could pick up the phone and have a conversation with, they have crossed another milestone. And that for me just makes me say, you just got to dream bigger. And that's what I do. Well, I believe first and foremost, I don't care if it's, you know, the hip hop industry or what industry, you have to believe in something greater than yourself. You have to. Everybody who I've ever encountered in my entire life, both personally and professionally, who do not believe in a greater purpose, or they're not working for a greater purpose than themselves, they are all miserable and broke. That's number one. I never, ever, ever hide the fact that I'm a man of faith. I never, ever hide the fact that I believe, you know, I'm a hard worker. I think I'm relatively intelligent, but truth of the matter is, I pray and I give any accomplishment that I ever had or will ever have to the man upstairs, because I believe, you know, if you're a blessing, he will bless you. So I always try to put that out there to people, and even as I'm interviewing highly successful people, I always try to sneak in questions that allow them to just be human for a moment. And you're not a robot. You didn't do this by yourself. You're just not a person who woke up and you were just so God-given, gifted that you made all of this money and you made all of this success. No, you tapped into something that was greater than yourself. In my case, it's God. Maybe some people tap into the quote unquote universe, but there has to be something that is greater than you that you are working for. So that's number one. And number two, I can tell you from my own personal experience, Whenever I've done anything on planet Earth with the sole goal of making money, I never have. When I went into something, whether it was an investment, whether it was, okay, let me do X, Y, and Z because it's gonna make me this amount of money, I've always lost. But whenever I went into something for passion, because I was just so excited about the project, because I believe that in this time, in this moment, this is my purpose. Number one, I've always excelled, but number two, the money always came. I never, ever, ever had to work for the money. Whenever I just locked into, this is my purpose in this moment, the money just comes. So I would tell anybody, don't work for money. Don't, find your purpose. And all of our purposes change. At one point, my purpose was to break hit records. That was my purpose, to get records played in the clubs, get them played on the streets, get them played on radio. Now my purpose is to educate and inspire others. And because of that, I believe that I will be blessed financially.